10 Things You Should Know About the 2022 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob. The Harley-Davidson Fat Bob is one of the coolest cruiser bikes currently on the market. The Harley-Davidson Fat Bob has always been a fan favorite ever since it was launched. With no major changes to this Softail cruiser since it was released, HD has managed to bring forward the ethos of the outgoing model to the 2022 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob, which is now available for a base MSRP of $18,799. Even though the motorcycle is priced at a steep premium, all the Fat Bob characteristics like the torquey Milwaukee-Eight 114V twin motor, beautiful design, and sweet sound make the ride quite enjoyable. The exclusive Harley-Davidson Owners Group, HOG, is another major aspect of any Harley-Davidson, and that alone is one of the biggest reasons why this American manufacturer sells the Fat Bob in bucket loads. A decent ride, impressive build quality, and a long list of accessories are some of the other factors that many of the rivals cannot offer. The 2022 Fat Bob is here to compete with the likes of the Ducati XDiavel, Honda Rebel 1100, and the Indian Scout. 10. Torquey motor makes the Fat Bob a joy to ride. The Milwaukee-Eight 114CV twin motor is a masterpiece of a powerplant. This 4-valve engine is undeniably one of the best units ever to be created by Harley. Even though the 86 horsepower tune doesn't sound like much, it's the 119 pound-feet of torque that does all the wizardry. The initial torque is so addictive and the motorcycle pulls cleanly from a low 2000 RPM. The mid-range is unmatched, too, making the whole overtaking process a breeze. Twist the throttle at any given RPM and the bike pulls cleanly. Downshifts are rarely required and the Fat Bob cruises at a very lazy RPM, with a barely audible hum from the motor. The 6-speed gearbox is relatively smooth, and the power is transmitted to the rear wheel through a belt drive system. 9. The Fat Bob handles admirably for a Softail cruiser. Even with a fat 16 inches front wheel wrapped in 150/80ths rubber, and an even wider 16 inches rear wheel with a 180/70ths tire, the Harley-Davidson Fat Bob handled admirably for a cruiser. The Fat Bob also weighs close to 676 pounds, making it the heaviest offering of the segment. Even with all these issues, the Fat Bob offers a pleasant riding experience around the twisties. One of the reasons for the impressive handling is due to the rake of 28 inches and wheelbase of 63.6. The cast aluminum front and rear wheels and the adequately stiff suspension setup are other reasons that make the handling more sure-footed. The well-engineered chassis and the sticky tires are offered too. 8. The sweet rumble of the V-twin motor is music to the ears. The exhaust note is quintessentially Harley-Davidson, and that makes the ride quite pleasing for both the rider and pillion. Even with the stock pipes, the 2022 Fat Bob gives out that characterful rumble of the air and oil-cooled V-twin. The exhaust sounds throaty at low RPMs and the mild bass emitted creates a smile on anyone's face. Even if you are riding like a hooligan, the beautifully crafted dual exhaust sings to the throttle input. At no point in time does the exhaust irritate you, which is a good thing. This stock exhaust is also quite enjoyable during the long freeway rides. 7. The Fat Bob looks beautiful from all angles. The Harley-Davidson Fat Bob is a lovely mix of vintage charm mated to some modern elements. The main attraction has been the bronze-shaded header and the dual exhaust, which adds character to this motorcycle. The beautifully crafted engine with a very minimal amount of chrome means that the owners wouldn't have to spend the time inside the garage detailing it. When viewed from the front, the LED headlight with LED DRLs also adds to the beauty. The blacked-out forks with reflectors, massive front and rear tires, and minimal Harley-Davidson embossing make it look like the motorcycle is in stealth mode. All three colors accentuate the design appeal quite significantly, too. 6. Build quality is superior to the Harley models of yesteryear. One of the biggest issues of the older Harley-Davidsons was their lackluster build quality. They were also not the most sorted motorcycles in terms of reliability, as the manufacturing and quality standards were not that high back in the day. However, the same doesn't apply to the 2022 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob. The switchgear feels dense and offers a tactile feel, unlike the Harleys of the past. All the wirings are routed neatly and there is no rust anywhere on the motorcycle. Even after hard riding, the 2022 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob didn't exhibit any rattles or squeaks. The paint and chrome quality was top-notch too. 5. Decently sharp and progressive brakes. The heavy curb weight of 676 pounds doesn't affect the braking performance of the 2022 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob. That is due to the excellent hardware given by this American brand for their Softail cruiser. The front end gets 4 piston calipers with dual discs, and the rear end gets a 2-piston floating caliper with a single disc. With just a minor grab of the front brake lever, the 2022 Fat Bob stops with utmost confidence. The initial bite and braking progression are top-notch too, unlike some of the older Harleys that had a wooden braking feel. The rear brakes are decent too. Along with that, dual-channel ABS is on board, and that is a necessity in this day and age. ABS tuning is spot on and doesn't intrude on the riding experience. 4. Adjustable suspension setup is offered as standard. The Harley-Davidson Fat Bob is a modern cruiser and is not comparable to many other mainstream Harleys you find on the road. This can be seen especially in terms of the suspension on offer. The front end of the Fat Bob is taken care of by the non-adjustable 43mm inverted forks with triple-rate springs. 5.1 inches of suspension travel is offered too. The rear end gets the spring-load adjustable mono shock with 4.4 inches of suspension travel. This definitely helps the handling and riding dynamics of the Fat Bob, which are not something many of the Harley-Davidsons are quite synonymous with. This setup also aids in a low-to-the-ground feel, which is a definite USP for the short riders. 3. The stock seat isn't comfortable on long rides. The Harley-Davidson Fat Bob is not the most comfortable motorcycle on the market, even with its adequately soft suspension setup and the meaty tires. The main factor that makes the ride quite tiring is an easy fix, though, as it's the soft seat that is offered as standard. This seat is quite capable for those short rides through the countryside, and anything more will take a toll on your body. The seat is quite narrow and the stepped-up design of the seat makes the back of the rider ache. The simple way to get rid of the issue is by going for the optional Sundowner Harley seat or getting the gel air seat. 2. Doesn't come with a lot of features. For a motorcycle that resides above all the rivals in terms of price, the 2022 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob misses out on many safety and tech features. This American cruiser only gets the anti-locking brakes as standard. In comparison, the rivals come with multiple modes of traction control, quick shifter, slipper clutch, and many more. The instrument cluster also tells the same story. Coming with a basic 4 inches analog tachometer with a small digital speedometer inside it, the Fat Bob doesn't offer a whole lot of information, which might be a deal breaker to many. However, the odometer, trip information, range, fuel indicator, etc. are on board. 1. Not the best value for money proposition of the segment. Available for a base MSRP of $18,799 or a monthly finance payment of $264. Depending on your credit score, the 2022 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob cannot be considered as a value for money proposition. This also makes it less appealing to many younger individuals, as it misses out on some essential features for the price, all of which are offered with the rivals. Buying the Harley-Davidson Fat Bob is a decision based solely on your heart, and that is not going to convince a lot of people out there. Apart from the ridiculous price tag, the Fat Bob is undeniably expensive to maintain too. Some of the optional accessories in the catalog are eye-watering as well. All of this affects the appeal of this cruiser.